The City Museum Požega was founded in 1924 as a result of a long-time research and collecting materials and objects made by the founder of the museum, a writer and a teacher, Julia Kempf, who in 1910 wrote an extensive book about Požega and Požega's county. Today, the museum is located in 3 buildings on the main square in Požega, and one of those buildings is a Baroque beauty from the beginning of the 18th century. In its numerous collections, the City Museum Požega keeps a very valuable material from the fields of archaeology, history, art history and ethnology. We should be sure to point out Rudina heads that are unique Romanesque sculptures that originate from the 12th century. Then there is artwork of a famous Croatian painters like Miroslav Kraljević and others, our unique pottery and many objects that testify about the turbulent past of Požega and its county. The museum is currently in the process of preparing for the future restorations of the building and creating a permanent exhibition. Nevertheless, the museum is always trying to attract visitors, especially school children, with a range of high-quality visiting exhibitions, excellent workshops for all visitors, and interesting projects like a retro barbershop that first opened its doors to the public in 1910 and is recently come alive. Every year, the museum also prints and sells its own calendars like Love Miseries of Old Citizens of Požega or Old Inns in Požega. These calendars tend to show interesting and not so known stories about our city. The museum also celebrates other annual events like its birthday on 6th of December, International Day of the Museums in May, and Night of the Museums in January. All these events and happenings are making the museum a very important and invaluable part of the community. One of the main projects of the City Museum Požega is the Museum in the Pot, that explores, documents and presents forgotten meals and dishes that are a very important part of the immaterial cultural heritage of Požega, Požega's county and the whole eastern Croatia. Slavonia, Baranja and the western Srijem are a part of the Pannonian region that is very famous for its most abundant and unhealthy diet based on meat and its processed products. It is the task of the Museum in the Pot to fight prejudice that Eastern Croatia has nothing interesting to offer except these familiar and traditional dishes, including čobanac, fish paprikaš and kulen. The Museum in the Pot does research, documentation of the preparing of the food and recipes that are followed by interesting stories full of everyday history. All the results of the research are released on the blog and also available through a range of workshops, presentations, exhibitions, documentary movies and gustations. With all this, the Museum in the Pot is continuously presenting all sorts of unusual and forgotten dishes to the public. A new dimension in this project is an idea that traditional food and dishes are perfect carriers of the stories about customs and historical events. They also promote heritage and its values to the tourists, guests and visitors. Added value of the project lies in the everyday usage of healthy, homemade ingredients and products, cultivation of forgotten vegetables and using natural resources to prepare the dishes. The goal of the Museum in the Pot project is to commercialize the riches of these traditional, now almost completely forgotten and unknown dishes. We wish to revive these dishes so they have a place in our local catering, wineries, making of the gastro souvenirs, etc. We also wish that cultivation of the local ingredients and vegetables becomes a constant and stable initiator of the development of tourism, agriculture and economy in this part of Croatia, wishing that it can completely or partly prevent this present exodus of our young people. With this in mind, City Museum Požega has gathered all 16 museums of Eastern Croatia, and their goal was to explore more than 30 forgotten dishes from all around Slavonia. The result of this effort was a joint exhibition called Museums in the Pot. This exhibition is traveling all over the region, and is consisting of documentary movie, museum catalog, virtual museum, gas stations, etc. With all this, the social awareness about the values, importance and potentials of traditional food and dishes is definitely rising. A book is now in preparation. It will contain recipes and stories following these dishes through annual, seasonal, working and life habits and customs of villages, cities and castles of Eastern Croatia, as well as through its history from the Slavonic roots till this day.